Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to welcome you all to ISKCON Silicon Valley. We're very fortunate this evening to have several exalted Vaishnavas with us. I'd like to welcome Mukunda Datta Prabhu and his wife Srimurti. Hare Krishna. Great scholar, dear friend. We'll be hearing from him for 3 classes this week. We also have His Holiness B.V. Janardhan Maharaj. And His Holiness Gopala Krishna Maharaj. And if I may, my husband, who is feeling great separation from being here, has written something that he asked me to read. To His Holiness Gopala Krishna Maharaj, we are extremely honored once again that you have come to visit us at ISV. Today I am feeling your separation as I could not come to see you. Keshav Bharati Maharaj also feels the same way. Yesterday, when I spoke to you on the phone and explained that we are in the last stages of the marathon to finish my book about book distribution, you ordered me to stay back and continue writing the book. I have taken your words to heart, and they have empowered me because I am doing as you have ordered. His Holiness Gopala Krishna Maharaj is one of Srila Prabhupada's most dear disciples who has, by his hard work and stellar example over many decades, greatly expanded ISKCON all over the world. If you ever go to Vrindavan or Mayapur, when Maharaj is there, you'll always see him performing Mangalarati. When you visit any of the temples in his jurisdiction, you'll notice that the devotees there are enlivened and fully absorbed in book distribution and various other kinds of outreach, especially favored by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for coming, for walking the earth and coming to see us as you do. We are uplifted by your presence, your teachings, and your example. Gaura Premanandi, your servant Vaisheshika. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you make this a little louder? No. Can they increase the volume? Vaishnavas are always very kind and very generous with praises. So I thank Vaisheshika Prabhu for his kind words. I'm very pleased that Mukunda Datta Prabhu is here from Vrindavan. Touring America right now, Mukunda Datta? You're touring America? They told me that you were here. So very happy to be here. We were in San Francisco yesterday. I try and go to that temple every year. Not many leaders go there. But I like going there. I'm very happy to be here. Am I late in starting the program? Can everyone hear me clearly? Okay. My throat is not so healthy, so what I do, make sure that you can hear. So we installed Prabhupada's deity. Looks beautiful. When did we install this? Wasn't here when I came last year. Jai Radha Kuja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kuja Bihari. Kartal. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kuja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kuja Bihari. Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamna Tira Panachari. Jamna Tira Panachari. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamna Tira Panachari. Jamna Tira Panachari. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Varadhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamna Tira Anachari Yamna Tira Anachari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radhe. Hariba, 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 Hariba. Hariba, 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 Hariba. Jai Om Vishnupada Mahansa, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, ISKCON Sahoda Yatra ki. All glory to the Simple Devotee. All glory to the Simple Devotee. All glory to the Simple Devotee. All glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Nada. Hare Krishna. Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be here. Your center, operating under Vaisheshika Prabhu's supervision over the years, has expanded very nicely. We have this very beautiful Prabhupada deity in Vyasa-san. Looks very attractive. And I think your new temple is already small. Maybe you should get something bigger. And it's very nice to see the commitment of all of you to a service that Prabhupada very much appreciated and encouraged, which was Bhakti Brihad Mridanga. So we'll discuss that also as we go along. So this year, as you know, is a very special year. Someone may say, but every day is special in Krishna consciousness. What's special about this year? The golden jubilee of Prabhupada's departure from India to the West. As we all know, in the very first meeting that Prabhupada had with his spiritual master in 1921, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had predicted that the holy name would be chanted in every town and village of the world. Our acharyas had great faith that this would come true. Thakur in 1896, the year that Prabhupada appeared, he wrote a book on the life of Lord Chaitanya. And he sent it to universities around the world. Global preaching. And then Bhaktisiddhantaji had tried to establish Krishna conscious centers in England. Those days India was under British rule, and getting something done in England was considered a great goal. So Bhaktisiddhantaji sent some representatives, sannyasis to England. They went there, but without much success they came back. So many Vaishnavas were thinking, yes, Lord Chaitanya has predicted that the holy name will be chanted everywhere, but it appears that Kali Yuga has gone too deep and it may not happen. But Bhaktisiddhantaji had full faith. Now it will happen. So Prabhupada had a friend who had met Bhaktisiddhantaji. Prabhupada's father, Gaur would regularly host sadhus. So Prabhupada had a lot of exposure to sadhus, and he wasn't so inspired by any of them. So when Prabhupada's friend said, there's a very special sadhu that I want you to meet, Prabhupada said, I met so many sadhus, I'm not interested. But his friend said, no, this sadhu is separate, it's not the same. And in Prabhupada's words, he virtually dragged Prabhupada to meet Bhaktisiddhantaji. And in the very first meeting, Bhaktisiddhantaji could see that he's that young individual who will take Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the Western countries. So Prabhupada was given this instruction in the first meeting. Bhaktisiddhantaji said, you're an educated young man, take Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the Western countries. And Prabhupada said, but who is going to listen to our message? First, we should make our country, India, independent. And then people will have some respect for what we say. A few days ago, you celebrated on July 4th, America's Independence Day, isn't it? America got its independence in July 4th, 1776. So Prabhupada was arguing that we should make our country India independent first. And Bhaktisiddhantaji convinced him the real independence is independence from the cycle of. So Prabhupada said, I was defeated by my Guru Maharaj. So Prabhupada took these instructions to heart, and as you know, he struggled for a long time. He first struggled in India. He first tried to establish Krishna consciousness in India. And then finally, he was able to sail to the West. Prabhupada had a friend in Mathura called Mr. Agarwal. So this Mr. Agarwal was a pious man who liked helping sadhus. So Prabhupada once just casually told him, your son is in America, why don't you get me a letter of sponsorship? His son was in Butler, Pennsylvania. And Agarwal took it seriously. And within 1 month, he got the letter of invitation and the required documents from the Indian consulate. And then Prabhupada had to struggle to arrange the rest. Those days getting out of India wasn't so easy. So there was a form called P form that had to be approved. And the officials were giving a hard time. Prabhupada said, let me speak to the top man. And when Prabhupada went to see the top man, he said, Swamiji, you have done your work. And then Prabhupada got a visa. And then with great difficulty, Prabhupada managed to get the passage. Srimati Murarji, when she was first approached Prabhupada had approached Srimad Maharaji earlier for assistance in publishing his first canto, part 2. Before Prabhupada went to the West, Prabhupada was a one-man army, one man doing everything, translating the books, collecting the funds, then buying the paper, proofreading the text, supervising the printing, and finally, what's left now? Finally distributing the books. One-man army. I know you devotees are committed to book distribution, but right now you get ready-made books, am I right? No one tells you, okay, translate the books first, then go and collect funds, then go and supervise the printing, then go and supervise the binding. You don't have to do that, isn't it? We're so lucky, we just get everything ready-made and we go and distribute books. But Prabhupada had to do everything himself. So Prabhupada had completed the first canto of part 1 when he was residing at the Radhananda temple in Vrindavan. Prabhupada at that time had a small typewriter that he would type on. And he would travel from Vrindavan to Delhi, taking a tanga to Mathura, traveling in third-class compartment. Have any of you traveled in third-class compartment? Now the government's knocked it off. It was so bad. So Prabhupada traveled in third class from Mathura to Delhi. Then upon arriving in Delhi, he would again take a rickshaw or tanga to go to the market. So this was in addition to his other duties of translating, collecting funds and distributing books. So Prabhupada needed funds for first canto part 2. And somebody told Prabhupada that there's a very pious lady in Bombay called Srimati Maharaji. Go and meet her. She may help you. So Prabhupada came to Bombay to meet her. And her secretary said, she's too busy, she has no time. But Prabhupada was determined to see her. So Prabhupada sat down in the staircase of the building where her office was. And for 5 hours, he was chanting japa, waiting for her to go. Prabhupada reasoned, she has to go home this way, because there's only one way out. So he sat down in the staircase, chanting a japa for 5 hours. And then in the evening around 6:30, when Srimati Maharaji was going home, she saw this sadhu sitting there. So she asked her secretary, who is this sadhu sitting there? And he said, he wanted to see you. I said you were very busy. So she was a religious lady and very respectful to sadhus. So she approached Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what can I do for you? So Prabhupada told her, I want to print first canto part 2 and I need some funds. So she invited Prabhupada next day to her office. And then she met Prabhupada and she was very pleased and she gave the money to print first canto part 2. So Prabhupada had already met her. So Prabhupada then again came when all the arrangements were made for him to go to America. Only thing he needed was a passage. So he came to meet her again at her office. And initially, first time when they met, she told Prabhupada, you want to go abroad at this age of 69? You may die, Swami. But Prabhupada was determined. Initially, Srimati Maharaji discouraged him. But when she saw that Prabhupada was so determined, she finally gave Prabhupada the passage. And she gave Prabhupada the passage on A luxurious ship? No, what was it? A cargo ship. I think most of you won't travel on a cargo ship even if you had a complimentary ticket. In the cargo plane there was only one cabin. The rest was all cargo. But Prabhupada was very happy with that cabin. And when Prabhupada sailed from India on August 13th, so next month, August 13th, we're having a big celebration in India. And Prabhupada sailed from Calcutta. And before embarking on the ship, he went to Mayapur, offered his respects to his Guru Maharaj, Samadhi, and then he came to Calcutta. And there was only one person who was there to see him off. And this one person, Mr. Bhattacharya, had taken Prabhupada to several newspapers. Here was a Swami going to the West with Lord Chaitanya to spread Lord Chaitanya's teachings. But none of them were interested in publishing anything. There was only one Bengali magazine, paper, that published a small item. And Prabhupada had made at the time Prabhupada sailed from India, he had 200 sets of the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto ready. And Prabhupada at that time was visualizing, doing the Bhagavatam in 60 volumes. So Prabhupada also had a leaflet ready. And finally on August 13, 1965, some of you were probably not born at that time, Prabhupada sailed from Calcutta to the West. And Prabhupada's journey wasn't such a comfortable journey. On the way he had 2 heart attacks. And when he had the second heart attack, Prabhupada thought, now my mission will not be successful. Maybe I should go back to India. And just at that time, the next night, he had another dream in which Prabhupada was a passenger in the boat, and the Lord was personally rowing the boat. And the Lord told him, your movement, your endeavor will be successful. And the captain of the ship was one Mr. Pandya, and his wife was an astrologer. She was a palmist, I think. So she saw Prabhupada's palm on the ship and said, once you cross over the present difficulty, your mission will be successful. Prior to Prabhupada embarking on his trip to the West, one astrologer in Maya, Bengal told him, you will one day build a house in which the whole world will be able to live. Prabhupada did that, isn't it? He built a house in which the whole world can live. There are Krishna conscious centers in every corner of the globe. And Krishna consciousness is for everyone. It's not a sectarian formula for people of one country or one community. The philosophy is for the whole world. And you can go to any part of the world, you'll find people very enthusiastically chanting, hearing, etc. So Prabhupada was a great visionary, and he sailed for the West. And on the way, usually the ocean always used to be very rough. But the captain remarked that the ocean has never been so smooth as now. Krishna made the ocean very smooth, so Prabhupada could have a smooth sailing to reach America. And then, as you know, when Prabhupada reached Boston, looking at the plight of society, he thought that who is going to listen to my message? And he wrote that beautiful poem. But in the end he remarked that by the mercy of Radharani. The impossible can become possible. So Prabhupada was always determined, meditated constantly on the instructions of his spiritual master. And his goal was to fulfill the desire of the acharyas. And finally, Prabhupada reached Boston on the 17th of September. And then on the 19th of September, Prabhupada reached New York. And then again, Prabhupada had to struggle in New York for nearly 1 year. And finally, on July 13th, 1966, ISKCON was incorporated in New York. When ISKCON was being incorporated, some people were suggesting that Prabhupada called it International Society for God Consciousness. But Prabhupada wanted to be very specific. So this year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's departure from India and arriving in America because it was a 35-day trip. So I believe there are very nice programs planned in India from where he departed and then in Boston where he arrived. And next year is going to be the Golden Jubilee of Prabhupada incorporating ISKCON in America. So it's nice. We all have wonderful opportunities for increasing our service to highlight the Golden Jubilee celebration. So I was going to read a verse to you today from the 5th canto. Should I? That was just an introduction. This is a verse from the 5th canto. The verse is being spoken by Jad Bharat. Tasmanaro sanga susanga pujata jnanas nihaiva viriksha boha prem tad iha kathana shatamyam avdasmita yad ati param advana. Simply by associating with exalted devotees. Oh.
Chapter and verse, they'll put it up there.
Okay, but now 5, 12, 16. Sorry, I didn't realize this was a high-tech temple.
Silicon Valley.
I'm still used to the old tradition of blackboard writing on chalks. But most of our temples now are high-tech, even in India. You just have to tell them. And I'm sure at least half of you probably have the Bhagavatam in your pocket now, in your smartphone. Am I right? Yes. Bhaktisiddhanta Ji said, the materialists invent technology for their benefit, and the devotees use the technology to glorify the Lord. So definitely you have to give credit to the scientists and the engineers who created the smartphone. I mean, with all its curses, it also is a blessing in some ways. And most of the devotees have virtually all of Prabhupada's books in their pocket. So I'll just read the translation. Simply by associating with exalted devotees, anyone can attain perfection of knowledge, and with the sword of knowledge can cut to pieces the illusory associations within this material world. Through the association of devotees, one can engage in the service of the Lord by hearing and chanting, Shravanam and Kirtan. Thus one can revive his dormant Krishna consciousness and, sticking to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, return home, back to Godhead, even in this life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. To become liberated from material bondage, one must give up the association of worldly people and accept the association of devotees. Positive and negative processes are mentioned in this regard. Through the association of devotees, one develops Krishna consciousness, which is dormant within. This Krishna consciousness movement is giving this chance to everyone. We are giving shelter to everyone who is serious about progressing in Krishna consciousness. We arrange for their lodging and boarding so that they can peacefully cultivate Krishna consciousness and return home back to Godhead even in this life. So this is the translation on the board? Okay. So this is a very sweet verse from the Bhagavatam. Actually, almost every verse in the Bhagavatam is sweet. The conflict is which is sweeter. When you have to choose a verse to speak on, it's such a dilemma because every verse has a powerful message. As it is said, Srimad Bhagavatam is the Gama Kalpa Gror Kalitam Phalam, the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, which presents the ultimate philosophy of rendering pure devotional service. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's full of stories. People love to hear stories, isn't it? In the mundane world, they like hearing stories of scandals of movie stars, politicians, sports stars, isn't it? But there's nothing much to gain by reading about them. But devotees prefer reading about the pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. And every story in the Bhagavatam has a purport. And the purport is to render pure devotional service. So, in the 5th canto, you read about Lord Rishabdev, how he was the emperor of the whole world. He had 100 sons. Rishabh means the best. And his father was Maharaj Nabi, and mother was Meru Devi. And the instructions that he gave to his 100 sons, Naham Deya Deya Bhajam Loke. He said, do not waste this human life like the cats and dogs, but use it for performing austerity. Tapo Devyam Puttaka Yena Sattvam. Perform austerities for the pleasure of the Lord. Sometimes people say, if I perform austerity, what am I going to get in return? Are you going to get anything in return? Yes, no. What are you going to get in exchange? Unending spiritual happiness. Material happiness has a beginning and an end. Is that right? But spiritual happiness, as Prabhupada often explained, is unending. There's a limit to the waves of the material ocean, but there's no limit to the waves of the spiritual ocean. So Lord Rishabdev instructed his 100 sons about the process of devotional service. Lord Rishabdev also explains, Nunam pramata kurute vikarma. The one who engages in activities against the laws of God is simply a madman. You may say, why? Because he presently has a body that is giving him nothing but trouble. And by engaging in activities, materialistic activities, he'll again get a body which will give him nothing but trouble. So, Lord Rishabdev gradually retired, and he placed his eldest son, Bharat, to rule the planet. King Bharat ran the planet in a very exemplary manner. Everyone was happy. In the past, the kings were Raj Rishis. Not just Rajas. Presently you have monarchy in some countries and presidential or prime ministers in other countries. But regardless, by and large, these days, the leaders have no concern for the population. But in the previous days, the kings would have great concern for the citizens. So King Bharat was the emperor of the whole planet, but he ruled the planet in such an exemplary manner that everyone was very happy. And the whole planet was known as Bharatvarsha. King Bharat gradually retired, went to the forest, and one day he saw a baby deer being chased by a lion. A deer was pregnant, and the mother died trying to save herself, and the baby fell from the womb, and the king started taking care of the baby. The king got excessively attached to the baby, and one day when the baby was out of sight, while searching, the king died. And as the Bhagavad Gita says, wherever your mind is at the moment of death, that's the type of body one. The laws of nature are very strict. Therefore the Vedas advise, Ante Narayan Smriti. Mold your life in such a way that at the moment of death you can think of Krishna. But that is only possible if we also practice the process of devotional service. So King Bharat, because his mind was focused on searching for the deer, he had to take his birth as a deer. But because he had also done pious service, he didn't have to stay for long as a deer, in the body of a deer. And he soon took his birth in the family of a Brahmana, where he was known as Jad Bharat. He was able to remember the mistake that he had made. So he decided that now I'm not going to repeat the mistake. And he pretended in society as if he was deaf and dumb. Once born, twice shy, they say that. So we've all learned from our mistakes. So our goal, meditation, should be like Jad Bharat. He resolved, I'm not going to repeat the same mistake again. So he behaved in society as if he was deaf and dumb. Once he was kidnapped. He was guarding a paddy field, and he was kidnapped by the dacoits, and by mistake. And the dacoits wanted to offer him to Goddess Kali, because their chief desired to have a son, and less intelligent people sometimes offer human beings also. But Jad Bharat was so fixed in his meditation that the Goddess Kali came out of the deity, and with a chopper she sliced the dacoits, and Jad Bharat was saved. So anyway, so Jad Bharat was pretending in society as if he was deaf and dumb. But he was not deaf and dumb. He was deaf and dumb to only material talk. So that should be our goal, that when it comes to material prajalpa, or material activities, we may be deaf and dumb. But when it comes to serving Krishna, then you speak like a lion. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I be humble and do book distribution at the same time? All of you are book distributors? How many of you in the audience are book distributors? Only 4 or 5? I thought, okay. So once this devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I be humble and do book distribution at the same time? Because when you go to do book distribution, you have to be a little aggressive. Let's be honest. So Prabhupada said, be a lamb at home and a lion outside. But don't become a lion at home and a lamb outside. You understand? So when you're dealing with Vaishnavas, you be gentle like a lamb. And when you're going to preach, you be like a But sometimes what do we see? Devotees become lion at home. And when it comes to preaching, they become a lamb. So Jad Bharat is a good example. He was pretending as if he was deaf and dumb. So there was a pious king of Gangrahogana who was being carried in a palanquin. Actually, he was headed for hearing a discourse in Kapila ashram. And in those days, the royalty would be In those days, the royalty would be carried in palanquins. Just like these days, the royalty or the VIPs go in very special Cadillacs and so on. They didn't have any Cadillacs at that time. They would be carried in a palanquin. So the king was being carried in a palanquin where the king wanted to go and hear a discourse. And he was getting late. So he told his palanquin carriers, "Speed up!" And so the palanquin carriers saw a tall, healthy man, broad shoulders, long arms, tall, who was acting as if he was deaf and dumb. And they told him, "Come help carry the palanquin of the king." And Jad Bharat agreed. But there was a major difference in between the mentality of Jad Bharat and the other palanquin carriers. What was the difference? Jad Bharat, being a Brahmana, would not place his feet on the ground till he saw that at least for the next 3 feet there was no living entity on the ground. Whereas the other palanquin carriers did not care for this. So as a result, instead of speeding up, the palanquin slowed down. And this was a great concern to the king. So the king started chastising the palanquin carriers. "Why aren't you going fast enough?" The carriers said, "Sir, don't blame us. This new person that we carried is slowing us down." Because he was being cautious and placing his feet on the ground. He didn't want to hurt even an ant. That's the nature of a devotee. A devotee doesn't want to hurt even an ant. And a devotee is very respectful. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll come to that. So, the king finally got angry on Jad Bharat. Jad Bharat initially tolerated the insult, but when he saw the king was getting too offensive, he then spoke. He then explained how everything is temporary. He may be the king and he may be the palanquin carrier, but tomorrow the tables could turn. And when he spoke, Ravana could recognize this man is not deaf and dumb. This man is self-realized. And he knew the dangers of Vaishnava aparad. So King Rahugana got down from his palanquin. See that I don't fear the thunderbolt of Indra. What I fear is Vaishnava aparad. Offered his respects and begged Jad Bharat to give him guidance. So Jad Bharat had been giving him guidance, and in this chapter, King Rahugana has pleaded for more clarification. We see in the scriptures that many times questions are placed again and again. So it's not that we shouldn't feel bad if we don't understand something what you're hearing at once. So Jad Bharat is instructing Rahugana, and frankly, through the medium of Rahugana, who is he instructing? Us! Especially the devotees of the same Yatra. He's instructing us about the process for spiritual advancement. So what Jad Bharat is saying, simply by associating with exalted devotees, we can attain perfection of knowledge. This principle of spiritual association is repeated again and again. Is that true?
Yes.
Just like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastakaya, Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhikaya. Associate with a saintly person. And by associating with a saintly person, with an advanced person, Lava Mata is measured at 1/11 of 1 second. So even for a fraction of a second, we have the opportunity to associate with an advanced devotee. So, and Prabhupada in the purport says, to make spiritual advancement, what do we have to do? We have to minimize worldly association and accept the association of devotees. So sadhu sangha or spiritual association is a must if we're desirous of spiritual advancement. In the 4th canto, you read the wonderful story of Dhruva Maharaj. As I said earlier, Bhagavatam is full of stories, and each of them has such a powerful message. So Dhruva Maharaj had performed great austerities. He was greatly angered because he was severely insulted by his stepmother. And Dhruva Maharaj came to the forest, Madhuvan, to search for God. He performed austerities, and finally he was able to meditate on the form of the Lord. And finally he saw the form of the Lord in front of him. So Dhruva was offered any benediction that he may desire. And Dhruva said, "My dear Lord, you are unlimited. God is unlimited. If you want to bless me, please bless me so that I may have the association of exalted devotees. Because if I am in the association of exalted devotees, I'll get transcendental knowledge that will help me cross over the insurmountable ocean of birth and death." So this point gets repeated again and again. This point is probably emphasized in every class, regardless of who gives it. Our festivals are called Sadhu Sangha festivals, isn't it? So spiritual association is a must. In the 3rd canto, you read about Kapila Dev and Devahuti and Kadama Muni. Devahuti, the mother of the Lord, knew that my son is an incarnation of Godhead. So she asked him a question. She said, "You are my transcendental eye. With our mundane eyes we can see, but in order to understand the Lord, we need transcendental eyes. Therefore, we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual authority so that with their guidance, we can make spiritual advancement." She said, "You are my transcendental eye. You are the axe that can cut that tree of entanglement. Please describe to me how I can free myself from the ocean of birth and death." Kapila Dev was very happy at the inquiry. He gave his mother advice. Associate with self-realized devotees. Attachment to self-realized devotee opens the door for liberation. And attachment to conditioned souls binds you deeply in the samsara of birth and death. And then Lord Kapila Dev went on to describe the qualities of a sadhu. Prahlad Maharaj also prays for the opportunity to associate with exalted devotees. In the 4th canto, Narada Muni explains to Dhruva Maharaj that one can possibly have 3 levels of association. You can associate with those who are more advanced, those who are equally advanced, and those who are less advanced. When you have the opportunity to associate with those who are more advanced, one becomes joyful. And the Bhagavatam gives another example. When peacocks see clouds for the first time in the rainy season, they dance in ecstasy. Of course, in California, you haven't seen rain for some time. They say that they're having a severe water shortage, am I right? Yeah, water rates have gone up. Okay. Because they've had 3 successive droughts. So, an example is cited that peacocks, when they see clouds for the first time, they dance in ecstasy. So when you meet somebody more advanced, one is joyful because one has the opportunity to hear the Siddhanta that can help the sincere candidate make spiritual progress. When you meet somebody equally advanced, one should make friendship. And when you meet somebody less advanced, then display compassion. Prabhupada in the purport says, when you meet somebody more advanced in material life, you just try to show how find faults in the person. When you meet somebody equally advanced, you try to show off how you're better off than him. And now when you meet somebody less advanced, then you exploit. Just like in America or any part of the world. If you don't have green card, you don't have permit, you're an illegal immigrant, you have to work for less salary, isn't it? So that's all over the world. So when you meet somebody less advanced, then you get exploited. So the scriptures talk about spiritual association. Now why do the scriptures talk about spiritual association? Why is it so important? Because if you are in the association of genuine devotees, then they will talk about the importance of devotional service. They're not going to talk about sports or politics or economics, what's happening on Wall Street. They're going to talk about the process of devotional service. Therefore, Jat Bharat is saying, if you have the opportunity to associate with exalted devotees, then that will result in giving you knowledge. So as we know, there are different types of knowledge. You have material knowledge that you get from schools, universities, colleges. But material knowledge, but material knowledge by itself is not satisfying. It's not complete. Therefore, you need spiritual knowledge. And Krishna explains in the 9th chapter of the Gita, 2nd verse. What is that famous verse? This knowledge is the king of education. So, sometimes people say, ISKCON is just a religious institution. And we say, no, we are an educational institution where we are educating people regarding the goal of life. We're educating people how to achieve the goal of life. This is a great science. In the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, Krishna says, now I am imparting this great science to you. So to understand this knowledge, we have to follow the proper process. So Jat Bharat is saying that by associating with devotees, you will get knowledge. And with a sort of knowledge, you can cut out the illusory associations within this material world. So what are the illusory associations? What are they? Identification with the body, understanding the body to be the real self, understanding sense enjoyment as a goal of life, etc. So these are all illusory concepts. Thinking that I can find happiness in material existence. Can anybody find happiness in material existence? If somebody says, I have found water in Sahara Desert, are you going to, is any sane man going to believe it? Yes? No. You can't find water in Sahara Desert. So similarly, to find real happiness in material life is impossible. Therefore, the great sage Prahlad Maharaj says, Nata vidam svadagati Vishnu. People do not know how real happiness can be found. Whereas a saintly person knows, if you want real happiness, engage in service to the Lord. So what Jat Bharat is saying, A, associate with devotees. B, if you associate with devotees, you will get knowledge. C, when you apply that knowledge, you will be able to cut the illusory concepts of life. So, we're all born in ignorance, isn't it? We offer a prayer. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalagya. So I was born in ignorance. So we are all born in ignorance. But through spiritual association, the ignorance gets destroyed. Just like we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's departure for India. So before Prabhupada came, there was hardly a devotee of Krishna in the Western world. Hardly a true devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada came, presented the pure path, went to Tompkins Square Park, sat underneath a tree, he had brought a drum with him from India, started chanting. It attracted other people chanting, and it spread. Prabhupada had established Krishna consciousness in America, India, in America, Canada, and Europe. But Prabhupada was thinking about the Iron Curtain. Those days, the Iron Curtain consisted of Soviet Union and the countries that were under Soviet influence, Poland, all of Eastern Europe. So Prabhupada was mainly interested in going to the Soviet Union, which at that time was strict, atheistic, communistic, and difficult to penetrate. But Prabhupada took the risk. Sorry. Prabhupada took the risk. He went to the country. He went on a 6-day visa, that's all. And within 6 days, of course, he had that famous exchange with Dr. Kitowski. And within 6 days, he made one devotee. And it's really interesting how that devotee was made. Prabhupada's secretary was looking for a place where he could buy some milk and fruits. Anyway, so Prabhupada made one devotee, one Russian devotee, Ananta Shanti, who passed away a few years ago. And that devotee in turn, and Prabhupada in a few days, initiated him, taught him how to wear a dhoti and kurta. He was into yoga. Prabhupada taught him the whole Krishna conscious philosophy, trained him up, and told him to go and preach. He started preaching, and slowly, what you see is history. But how did all that happen? By spiritual association. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you read the story of Mrigari the hunter, who was a deadly hunter, who used to half kill animals, see them flopping, And when they would die, he would sell their flesh. So now the Muni happened to be passing by, who saw all these half-dead animals. Now the Muni said, who is the cause of all this? Regarding the hunter had hidden himself behind the bush and said, I'm the cause. Now the Muni said, why don't you fully kill them? Why do you half kill them? It gives me great pleasure in seeing them half killed. And this hunter got so purified by now the Muni's association that he would not even place his feet on the ground till he saw that there was no entity on the ground. So this is the power of spiritual association. So when you associate with saintly people, you receive knowledge. So knowledge that is being referred to here is the knowledge of devotional service, which begins with Shravanam and Kirtanam. Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his father to explain, what is the best thing you learned in school today? Prahlad's father was severely chastised. Prahlad's teachers, Sanda and Marga. Who is brainwashing my son? It appears that the Vaishnavas are coming in disguise and brainwashing him. And the teachers would say, sir, don't chastise us, we don't know ourselves. But we'll brainwash your son. So, the Prahlad's father was hoping that the son would respond and say, Father, you are the greatest. But instead the son mentioned the ninefold paths of the devotional service that he had heard from his. Heard from whom? Narada Muni, when he was in the womb of his mother. So, when the scriptures talk about knowledge, it talks about knowledge about the process of devotional service. So that is what is being referred. In the association of devotees, you get transcendental knowledge. And when you apply that transcendental knowledge, then the illusory concepts of life can be destroyed. Just like each of us has experience. When you chant your rounds, read, perform devotional service, you're enthusiastic to serve. Am I right? Yes, no? Yes. Is that universally true? Yes. Yes. And then Krishna appears beautiful to you and Maya appears ugly. Is that true? Yes. And when you don't chant your rounds properly, when you don't follow the spiritual standards, then what happens? Maya becomes beautiful. And Krishna becomes ugly. Is that true? So we all have experience that Krishna conscious philosophy is not theoretical philosophy. It's a practical philosophy that you can live with and experiment with. You can see, if you chant your rounds, follow the process, then to defeat Maya becomes so easy. Just like Krishna says, Devesha guna maya mama maya durataya. To overcome this illusory energy is very difficult. But if you surrender to me, then you can overcome this illusory energy. So surrendering to Krishna means following the process of devotional service that you get from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Shastra means the words of God. Sadhu means the acharyas through whom the words of God is being transmitted. And then you have the Guru who repeats to you everything that is there in the Shastras and Sadhu. That's exactly what Prabhupada did. He did not concoct anything. He gave us the pure message as it is. So, if you receive this pure message as it is, which you will get if you associate with sadhus, and you apply this knowledge, then what happens? Then what does Jad Bharat say? You can destroy the illusory concepts. So what is important is this spiritual association. Because if you stay in that association, then you'll constantly get this knowledge. And then you can go back to God. So this advice Jad Bharat is giving is for all of us. in the purport of the fourth canto of the verse where Dhruva Maharaj says, "Please, my Lord, if you want to bless me, give me the association of exalted devotees." Prabhupada in the purport says, if anybody thinks that he can advance without spiritual association, he's just living in hallucination. That's a dream. So, Prabhupada in the purport of this verse also says, we are giving shelter to everyone who is serious about progressing in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada, actually once, Prabhupada called me in Bombay and said, put this advertisement in the papers. And Prabhupada hand wrote an advertisement at 2 o'clock in the night. What was that advertisement? It was a very catchy one. Come and live with us, like us. Prabhupada said, I'll feed the whole country. People say India is a poor country. I'll feed them. Put ad in the papers, come and live with us, like us. So the catch was like us. If you come and live, follow the spiritual standards, then you'll be maintained. So this Krishna consciousness process is a very enlivening process. Brahmabhuta prasanatmana sojatina kankshati. One who is transcendently situated is at once joyful. So chanting and hearing are the key to spiritual advancement. If we chant and hear, take advantage of the spiritual knowledge, then you'll be able to make spiritual progress. And this is universally true. You can go to so many parts of the world. I have the facility to travel in different parts of the world. In Africa, you have nice devotees. How do they become? By this process. Anyone who takes advantage of this process, the process is going to work. And Thakur Bhakti Vinod in the Sharanagati gives us very good guidance how we can make spiritual progress. He says, you should always absorb your mind in attentively chanting Krishna's glories. So absorb your mind in what? Attentively chanting Krishna's glories. And how do you sing Krishna's glories? How? By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Thakur Bhakti is saying, absorb your mind in attentively chanting. There are different stages of chanting the holy name. Attentive chanting is most important. At least when you're chanting, concentrate on chanting. Not that you're chanting and then taking 10 other errands at the same time. At least focus on chanting. And if you chant attentively, then the medicine works faster. Then the Chetadharva Marjanam works faster. And then there's Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam also. Then he says, by performing Krishna's Kirtan, you'll gain mastery over the mind. Is anyone having problems with the mind? All of you? I was told that the mind, all of you had very disciplined minds. In Silicon Valley you get all this knowledge. Okay. So the mind is a source of problem. Krishna says himself in the Gita, everyone is struggling with the mind and the senses, isn't it? So what's the solution? Thakur Bhakti says, by performing Krishna's Kirtan, you will be able to control the mind. In other words, you will be able to gain mastery over the mind by the process of chanting the holy name. Give up false pride. Is that easy or difficult? Difficult. How difficult? Very difficult. To give up false pride. As we cultivate spiritual knowledge, as we cultivate spiritual qualities, you will be able to give up false pride. Always think yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, and more humble than straw in the street. Thakur Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the 6th Shastaka verse, 3rd verse, highlights the importance of humility. So we hear Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, think yourself to be worthless. Krishnadas Kaviraj gave us a wonderful book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj says, I am so unqualified that even if you take my name, all your good qualities will go away. So don't even take my name. And what's our position? If you don't take my name, you are in trouble. And Krishnadas Kaviraj says, don't even take my name. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda gives us, it teaches us the importance of humility. Practice forgiveness like the tree. A devotee is very forgiving. He doesn't believe in tit for tat. Material life is all based on tit for tat. Practice forgiveness. And the classic example is Yudhishthira Maharaj. Even at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, he gave all hospitality to Dhritarashtra. Wonderful palace to live in, which was so comfortable that Dhritarashtra was getting so attached to it, till Vidura had to wake him up. So practice forgiveness. Give up all violence towards other living beings. So the nature of devotee, as we said earlier, is that he doesn't even want to harm an ant. Throughout your life, you should never give anxiety to others. So don't operate in such a way that you give anxiety, but operate in such a way that you don't give anxiety to others. And do make them happy and forget about your own happiness. Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, act in such a way that you can make others happy. Don't worry about your own happiness. And what's our philosophy? My happiness is first and yours is second. But Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, act for the welfare of others. And the best way to act for the welfare of others is to preach Krishna consciousness. So, preaching is the essence. Prabhupada gave us various types of services. And he often said, this process of preaching is the best. And there are many types of preaching you can do. You can go on Harinam, you can do so many. But amongst various preaching alternatives, which is the best? Brihad Mridanga. Brihad means loud. So, Brihad Mridanga, why did Bhaktisiddhanta call this Brihad Mridanga? Because you can distribute a book in one city and the influence could be thousands of miles away. When our devotees went to one country in Africa, about 25, 30, or 40 years ago, one of our sannyasis had gone there to preach. And there he met 3 African devotees who said, I know everything about Krishna consciousness, and our friends and we also chant. So this devotee said, but we've just come to your country. We haven't even opened any temple. He said, I bought your book in London when I was studying. So I brought the books with me to London, from London, started reading these books, and we were all chanting. So this is Brihad Mridanga. If we sincerely try, the impossible becomes possible. And you can distribute a book in one part of the world, and the book can be read in any other part. So it's nice to see that all of you are committed to book distribution. Prabhupada emphasized book distribution because that is the true nature of a Vaishnava. Paradukha dukhi. And that's how Prabhupada struggled to even translate these books. Prabhupada would stay up all night and translate the book. While the whole world slept, Prabhupada would be awake, translating the books. Why? He only had one thing in mind, to make people happy. So these books are meant to make people happy. And it's nice that you all are distributing the Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
Yes.
I heard that you all were pushing the Bhagavatam set distribution. We're very happy because we print them. Our BVT in Bombay prints them. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada wanted everyone to have Bhagavatam sets. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, as you know, presents the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. And if we sincerely endeavor, Krishna will help. So it's a pleasure to be here. Stay in devotee association. Apply that transcendental knowledge. Cross over the illusory, and you can destroy the illusory concepts by the power of devotional service. And amongst all the services one can render, what is the best one? Preaching, distributing my books. Prabhupada said, as long as book distribution goes on, he said, I will never die. What does that mean? Because as long as book distribution goes on, people will continue, Prabhupada will preach through the Bhaktivedanta translations and the Bhaktivedanta purports. And that's happening even today. People buy these books and change their lives. If you did a survey around the world, you will see that most devotees, especially in the Western countries, they become devotees because of the power of these books. People read these books, and when they read these books, they inquire. When they read these books, they understand. Yes, this is what I should be doing, and this is not what I should be doing. And these books, there's the Granth Bhagavat and the Bhakt Bhagavat. And these books bring people in association with devotees, and the physical association of devotees, and the association of the acharyas and Prabhupada through these books work together to bring the conditioned soul from material life to spiritual life. So book distribution is very important, and Prabhupada emphasized this. And we can see practically how, by reading these books, people are changing their lives. Not only changing their lives, those who regularly read these books, they're also able to maintain steady Krishna consciousness. They're also able to make spiritual progress. Because reading these books, our goal is not just to distribute these books, but also to read these books. Because reading these books makes our intelligence sharper, enables us to destroy the illusory thoughts of Maya. So we should read and distribute both, and chant Hare Krishna attentively, as Thakur Bhaktivinoda has said. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I think I'm running a little late.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful lecture. And I have one question. I recall...
Well, you don't have any questions. You're just... Okay.
Actually, I recall that several years ago, I think when we were back at the Bascom Avenue Temple, you gave a lecture on the same verse and purport. And one thing that stuck out at that time for me, and also tonight, was where Srila Prabhupada says that we give board and lodging to those who want to practice Krishna consciousness for their benefit, to get the association of devotees. And I wonder if you can speak about that. As yet, in this ISKCON Silicon Valley, we're intending to get an ashram for brahmacharis to stay, but we haven't yet. We're still a grihastha temple with everyone has their own place, and it's a little comfortable because that when devotees are living in the temple, sometimes they become dependent economically on the temple, and even they may, fight with one another, but they feel that they have a right to stay and get the food and shelter there. But I'm wondering what are your realizations, and how can you encourage us to create a situation where devotees can live together in an ashram situation?
Well, brahmachari ashram is nothing new. Many of ISKCON temples, even in America, have brahmachari ashram. In Moscow, there's a brahmachari ashram with more than 150 brahmacharis there. So, brahmachari ashram, I don't see why there should be a problem. And if the brahmacharis are there, they'll engage in service, maybe preaching, maybe whatever. But brahmachari ashram is an integral part of the varnashram system. I don't see a problem at all. You have temples in America that have so many brahmacharis.
Thank you.